David Foster here at Premier Orlando at the Salon EVO booth with the incredible, I'm talking royalty here, Sonya Dove. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Do you know, it's so nice to see you. It's always nice to see a British person.
Oh, yes.
Who is literally dominating what's happening in North America. The Queen of Sophistication. I could go on and on and on.
Wow, I'm going to sit here all day.
Thank you. Well, do you know what? I hope you do. I hope you do. I watched an interview you did with our editor, Jennifer, just recently.
Yes.
And one of the things I really enjoyed about it was you gave a bit of advice about ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to learn, to continue to evolve and develop. Is there a question that maybe you would like to have asked years and years ago? Or a question that might have I don't know. Is there a question that changed your career? And as soon as you asked it, you thought, I'm glad I asked that question. Because I think it's such a valid point that you should never stop learning.
It is, and actually, what made me say that is a real life experience. When I started in the industry and I was working in the salon myself, I was working with a team of about 20 people. I just got beauty school education and everything. And a dream of mine was always to be at Fashion Week in London, Milan, Paris, or the United States. And I had that dream in my head, but I never vocalized it. And there was someone else that worked in the salon, and they said, oh, what I would love to do is to be at one of the fashion weeks. And that person, because they opened their mouth, because they said their aspirations and dream to the salon owner, was then taken to Paris to do Fashion Week. And I was like, man, I should have really vocalized that myself. So don't keep your dreams inside. If you have anything that you want to do, tell everybody, tell your family, tell your co-workers, tell your friends, because once you vocalize that, it can come true. So questions and aspirations are important. Use your voice.
Speaking of questions,
yep.
What's the most effective way that you found to be able to stand out from the competition?
Wow, that's a very deep question. And what I say to people when I teach and I educate is we were all born perfect. We're perfect that moment we came into this earth. And I think what happens as we get older and we grow, we go through our teenage years and so on, we start to become smaller and get less because of life. I think always remember you're perfect. Always remember that you can't be someone else. You were born to be you. I spent half my life, because I was that person, I always wanted to be other hairdressers because I wasn't good enough. That's what my head told me. Once I started to listen to my heart and understand, I'm all right, I'm not bad, I'm getting through this, and then started to realize, just share yourself and just know that you were born perfect and I'm not going to be anybody else. So it's that, I know that's a very deep way of answering it, but I just want to say that because I think we do spend a lot of time in not being kind and good to ourselves.
Premier Orlando, I am so excited to be joined by the magnificent Michelle O'Connor. How are you?
Hi, I'm so well. I am so happy to sit here with you as well. I'm a big fan.
Do you know, the happiest I've seen you is when I said, why don't you take a load off?
That was the magic word. I mean, that's what it's all about at these trade shows. You know, you're just going and going and giving and giving.
Tell me a little bit about what you're working on this weekend at Premier Orlando.
Yeah, so at Premier Orlando, I'm here with Ulta Beauty, of course. I'm also here with my brand Matrix. Yep. And so I'm actually on quite a few stages. I have classroom rotations, and I'm speaking a lot to color. I'm also dabbling a bit in styling. I find it's very hard to stay in one lane. People kind of know me as being in a lot of lanes, and so I keep that going, and so it keeps me on my toes. I continue to get inspired by the newbies that are coming up and watching and asking questions and are, you know, speaking to how inspired they are, and that fuels me.
Well, I really love the fact that you said you're inspired by these newbies, these up-and-coming superstars, because they're even more inspired by this one here. You mentioned about Matrix, you mentioned about Ulta. How do you balance that along with your clients, along with your travel, and your personal life?
Family and personal life, yeah, that's a very good question. I always say that none of those things are going amazingly well all at the same time. I think that is the key to balance, is that what you are doing at that moment in time needs your 100% focus. And it's not to say that the other things you drop the ball on, it's just that there's a hierarchy of prioritizing. So it's maintaining a zen, if you will, in the midst of the storm. And it's also prioritizing being in the moment of what you're doing at that time.
So is it fair to say that as long as the highs don't get too high and the lows don't get too low?
Absolutely.
And you manage that and you keep it in check,
well,
that's the way you manage them?
You are the CEO of yourself, and there's going to be a lot happening, whether it's family, husbands, children, around you at all times. So if you don't maintain your inner core, then you can't be good for anything, not even yourself. So it's just a discipline over time. You learn, if you want to have longevity in an industry, you have to maintain composure, decorum, and balance.
Tell us about a time when you had to pivot your business or career strategy to adapt to changing circumstances.
So I think for me that transition was taking a leap from being behind the chair to being an educator and a platform artist and an artistic director, like pretty much full time. You look at being in the salon as your bread and butter. It's what you go to every day, and sort of just flying and taking a chance and sort of knowing that you can build a career on the other side of that. That was probably the biggest leap of faith. I didn't know what tomorrow promised. I was doing it afraid. That's really it. Like, it's really whatever is happening and that you are afraid to do. It's not to say that you're not going to be terrified, but you'll just do it terrified.
But that was a big pivot. Yeah. I'm going to ask one more before I let you go, okay? You're going to work for this one.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh, this is perfect, perfect. Michelle, share your vision for the future of the beauty industry and your role personally in shaping it.
Yes, well, I take that responsibility very, very seriously. And, you know, my role and my vision for the future of the industry is an industry that truly, truly comes together across hair texture lines, color lines, a cohesive and united beauty industry that really holds stylists accountable for their craft and all that they have a knowledge about. And being able to create environments in the salon where anyone can walk in the door and feel like they're equipped by a very capable hairdresser.
I love that, and I love that you take that personal responsibility to heart. That is why you're a true leader and a true inspiration. Michelle O'Connor, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Michelle, finally, where can people follow you, just quickly?
They can follow me at Michelle O'Connor Beauty on Instagram and Michelle O'Connor Beauty 1 on TikTok.
Dove, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Sean Godard. I am a very passionate hair colorist that works for Redken and Ulta Beauty.
And what have you been doing this weekend with Redken and Ulta? Have you been up on stage, doing some education?
A little bit of everything. Definitely education is like my passion. So we've had 2 amazing classrooms that were completely full. I love the energy that when it comes to the people that come to premiere. And then some main stages as well. So a little bit of everything. Yeah. Even a booth stage. Yeah. You can find me everywhere here.
Everywhere we go. And we've got some questions from our Booksy box here, so I'm gonna fire some of these at you.
All right, let's see what happens.
Okay. What is the worst salon experience that you've ever had?
Ooh, okay, well, I'm wondering, do I answer that as me personally going to a salon, or, yeah, let's go there first. Yeah, that's an easier one. Yeah. I don't want to say what I've done. That was the worst.
No, people are shamed.
Yeah, I'm like, no, don't judge me. The worst experience I had Well, is actually kind of what steered me into doing hair. I used to go into a salon with a picture, just like everyone else, asking for things that maybe were a little unrealistic,
Right.
but that's the stylist job to let us know what is achievable or how it happens. So I found myself going to the salon asking for, it was like a frosted tips moment, probably it was
Okay.
2000s. Let me be.
Yeah.
And they were like super orange and brassy.
Yeah.
And what I learned from that was that obviously she didn't leave it on long enough, or maybe saturate enough, like all the things I know now as a professional. But ultimately, that is what led me into doing hair, was understanding that there's something missing with some stylists, and it ultimately turned out to be education. So that's why I am where I am.
Yeah. What makes you so passionate about being an educator in this industry?
Honestly, it's the feeling of that everyone wants it so much. Like everyone's so interested in what you have to say, and I love nothing more than sometimes it can be what I might think is the littlest detail, but it will change their game for the next 15 years. And it might be just like how you hold your foil or how you do your weave. It's the littlest thing. So that's what makes me so passionate about it, is because I literally see people's lives change behind the chair, or I should say their results change, which makes their lives change because they can make more money, do better results, get requested more, all of those good things. So it's just it's a full love connection here, a full circle.
And we have the Ulta booth here, and it's all about the six-figure stylist,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What is it about Ulta that makes you really passionate about representing it? And why do you think it's important to encourage artists to go above and beyond and get to six figures, reach their goals?
Yeah, absolutely. So first part of that would be with Ulta. What I love about them is that they're the largest salon company in the U.S. So we have, I think, close to definitely 1,200 locations. Now, if you think about the amount of stylists that are working in there, that puts me in touch with all of these people. So back to what I was saying before about being able to help change these people's lives or their results behind the chair, it just instantly gives me a connection with them. And Ulta truly believes in helping the stylists that work there. I have never been into a salon company before where they give so much back to the stylist in terms of education and also support and all of those things, which is why we have the six-figure stylists. And I think people are always shook to be like, there's six-figure stylists that work in a salon in Ulta Beauty? Yeah, it's a thing. Now, why do they get there? I honestly think it's because of all the stuff that we give them, not just in education of how to do hair, but how to do your business, how to run your business, how to keep tabs on things. I think oftentimes hairstylists, we get the money and we take the money and we spend the money because we love it, but we don't really plan about how to maximize the money that we make all the time or how much we could maximize the day behind the chair. And that's where Ulta really comes into, all the stylists track what they're doing. They have goals to really come to that next level. So we're trying to find more six-figure stylists this year.
How do you create a personalized and unforgettable experience for each client?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I think in that world, it's going to be slightly different based off of like what your vibe is as a stylist and what details really matter to you. And I think that's what's so cool about this industry is, one, there's room for every type of stylist and every vibe because your vibe attracts the type of client you have. For me personally, what's always set up to be like a special visit is it starts in the consultation. I know you probably hear a lot of people saying that these days, but the consultation is really what makes the client feel comfortable with you. It settles them in. I always like to sit down and face them like we are one-on-one versus talking in the mirror. And just having that moment instantly takes down any edge that might have been with the client, makes them feel comfortable and makes me feel comfortable too. Then the other thing is just what I always think about is, well, let's be real. We charge a lot of money for services, right? So if I were paying this much money, what would I want my experience to be like? Some examples are I like everything to be very clean and organized around me. I think that it's just something that sets you up to be like a higher end, higher level experience. And I always say if you want to charge high end prices, it's not just about the service that I'm doing to their hair. It's about the entire experience the second they walk in the door, how they're greeted, what their experience is like. So yeah, for me, it's just always reflecting back to what would be important to me that I would be looking out for. But the last detail I want to share is I always get told that I'm a very gentle stylist, meaning like soft and not like super aggressive. So it's an interesting call out because I don't feel like I go out of my way to try and be soft and gentle, but some of y'all be being real rough out there. Some clients need a gentle touch, soft touch.
Yeah. I know, you want to go and feel like you're being touched by little fairies.
Yeah, like they want to fall asleep while it's happening.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting with us. I loved all the advice you gave, and we'll be watching out for you here, there, and everywhere.
That's it. I'll be around. Catch me if you can.
We will. Hi, I'm Jen. I'm the editor of Barber EVO and Salon EVO, and I am here with David Lopez.
Hi, I'm David Lopez with the Ulta Beauty Pro Team.
Thank you so much for coming by. How has your weekend been?
The weekend's been great. I think Premiere is such a huge show. The energy feels very curious. Like people really want to learn and they want to see new things. I think industry-wide, people are wanting to try and see new things and new ways of working, new ways of learning, new ways of educating. And it kind of feels like pre-pandemic, it kind of felt like you saw the same thing every year, but since the pandemic, we started coming back, every year feels like it's changing a little bit more and more and more. People are innovating more about how they show up at shows, so it's really nice to be here.
And tell me a little bit about your role at Ulta Beauty now, and how does that come to life at events like these?
Yeah, so at Ulta Beauty, I joined the Pro Team initially to kind of support the marketing shoots. So any of the images that you see in the store, I've been a celebrity hairstylist and a session stylist my whole career. Based in New York City, I've been with the Wall Group for a year. Before that, I was with a different agency, and I did a lot of session styling for campaigns. I worked with Kenra for a long time. I worked with Amika. I worked with all these brands doing the hair for their campaigns. And so I came onto Ulta really to kind of support the marketing shoots. I think from a sort of like D&I perspective, diversity perspective, looking at things of how we describe what gorgeous hair is and the casting and what the hair looks like, and breaking down tutorials and the kind of magic that happens for photos, making it relatable to the salon. This is my 4th year on the Pro Team, and that role started to evolve as I moved into more of a leadership role. And in the last 6 months, I've been able to kind of work with Anna Manukian and Nick Stenson and our team at Ulta on conceptualizing our shows, our shoots, working on everything from the casting to any sort of creative assets that we show up and how we show up. For our booth, for example, I was like, we should have a digital screen that shows our schedule for the day. We should have QR codes that lead to our recruitment opportunities, but also QR codes that show people our Instagram. When we showed up on the stage, I was like, let's have before and afters, let's have photos. When we do our education, let's move beyond cutting, coloring, and styling. If we have social media people, I'm a content creator as well. I became an influencer in the last couple of years. I want to show people how to shoot their content, what kind of lights I use, the stands I use, how to white balance a photo. It's very relevant, I think, to the stylists today, but also bringing in the stylists that have been, you know, our heroes for the last 20 years and also educating them as well. So yeah, it's been really fun to help bring all that to life and innovate not only our creative, but also how we show up.
I think it says a lot about Ulta Beauty as a company that they're not staying stagnant. You know, they always do so well, especially at shows like this. They're everywhere, from, you know, the main stage to the booth. The booth is always spectacular, but, you know, they've not just gone, well, we know what we're doing, we're just going to stick with that. We have people like yourself who are rethinking it and evolving it to make sure that you're adapting to the change that's happening, which is really important. And Ulta is such an advocate for the hairstylist to take their career to the next level, you know, to become the 6-figure stylist, to have a career that's, you know, sustainable, and, you know, go farther with it. So how do you prepare, how do you integrate that into your education?
I think for us, integrating the kind of career possibilities that are available at Ulta, it's different to say that versus show it.
Yeah.
We have our design team members who are on our team. Most of them are 6-figure stylists, and they're also having the opportunity to audition to become a design team member, to come to shows like this to expand their career. I think education is one of the pillars of Ulta Beauty, making sure we're constantly innovating how we educate and what we're educating, everything from our texture program, extensions, color work. We have superstars in the pro team, Godard with Redken, who really is able to have this kind of like one-to-one and really help be involved in the network, the Ulta network, and give this like high-end education to our community. So I think opportunities like that and programs like that really help elevate the whole experience.
Absolutely, and that's the way, one of the ways to become successful is to add strings to your bow and, you know, specialize in something, you know, do the course in extensions, do the course in texture, become a rounded individual, and that's how you build your brand and hopefully create, you know, a long career for yourself. You have to arm yourself with every skill so that you can continue to adapt throughout the year.
Yeah, I think you should arm yourself with every skill, but I also think that you should focus on what brings you the most joy.
Right. I love that. Yeah.
You know, I think it's important to keep learning and keep educating. All those things are valid because all that education, even if you never use it in your everyday, it's going to teach you something else about what you love to do. But I never lose sight of the fact that as hairstylists, we chose a career that has the opportunity to make money, but also bring us joy every day. So when you think about the services that you're going to focus on, the services that you do, let them be services that you can really do feel like bring you the most joy as a hairstylist. Let's not forget, we're business people, but we're also creatives, a lot of us.
Yeah.
So the world that we all became like, these kind of like having to be ball and chain to like, I have to learn everything and do everything and to do, you don't. You can really create your own universe and your own experience as a hairstylist, but you still have to know a lot of skills and keep developing your skills, but just stay true to what brings you the most joy, because I promise you, any hairstylists out there, when you stay true to your joy, the money comes. I promise you, the money comes.
Well, thank you so much for coming and sitting
My
with
pleasure.
us today. We love you guys so much and everything you're doing. Big fans of your work. So
We're big fans of you too. I mean, we have Danielle Kiesling on the cover right now.
we need to get you on the cover.
I was like, I'm next.
Yeah.
In my hair though, I have to be fully in my hair and my
think
lashes.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Me too.
Okay, let's make it happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.